Everything we have comes as a gift from God's generous heart. In response to God's generosity, we're invited to live our lives to the fullest by giving freely of all that has been given to us. In doing so, we find freedom and the unexplainable joy of joining God's work in changing the world.
We join in God's mission by giving our tithe. A tithe is simply 10% of our income we give back to God. At Grace Church, your tithe goes to the General Operating Fund. This fund enables Grace Church to provide quality facilities, programs, and staff who help people experience God's love for them through a relationship with Jesus. The General Operating Fund provides resources for children's ministry, youth ministry, small groups, worship experiences, outreach efforts, and just about everything Grace Church does, near and far. Some things you see, and some things you don't.
We join in God's mission by starting with, or growing towards, the tithe. But just as God's love knows no bounds, neither does generosity. Followers of Jesus are able to enjoy the thrill of extravagant generosity by giving beyond the tithe. Giving beyond 10% is a chance for you to give to very important projects and new possibilities, and discover God's ability to provide in supernatural ways.
At Grace Church, opportunities to give beyond the tithe include the Impact Initiative, Faith Promise Gifts for Missions, and special offerings for Shoes of Hope, Operation Christmas Child, disaster relief, and more.
Today, we want to inform you how Grace Church is doing at the halfway mark of 2014. Giving beyond the tithe to special projects is meeting and even exceeding the need. This means that our plans for debt reduction for the Grace Community Center are on schedule, and our support for our global mission partners is at record levels. This year, we will send more Christmas boxes and provide more shoes for children in our community than ever before.
However, at the same time, giving to the General Operating Fund is running behind what is needed. Currently, we are at an 8.5% operating deficit year to date. We have limited cash reserves, but we can't sustain the shortfall for the remainder of the year.
Please join in prayer about this shortfall and consider giving to the General Operating Fund. With the amount of people God has touched through our ministry together, this challenge can be easily met if each person gave their tithe or began moving towards that goal. Pray that God will help each person who calls Grace Church their spiritual home to recognize the call to live generously.
Thank you so much for your faithful support of Grace Church.